morning, everybody. I'd like to call the Dutchess County IDA meeting to order for February. Jasmine, could you please take the roll call for attendance?
Oh, she's on. Oh.
Hold on, we've got to increase the volume just a little bit.
Okay, try again, Jasmine.
Tim Jean,
Here.
Mark Doyle,
Yeah.
Kathy Bauer,
Here.
Amy Bondieri, Ginger Cohen,
Here.
Juan Fabiano,
Here.
Dr. Lozano.
Okay, we have quorum, so we will continue. First thing I want to mention is conflict of interest disclosures. If anybody on this board has a conflict with the matter before us and they're aware of it, could you please disclose that now? Okay, I don't hear any, but if one arises during the meeting, please let us know and we'll recuse you from the discussion on that particular issue. Sarah, the proof of meeting notice was posted?
Yes.
Okay. Any bills and communications?
None.
Approval of minutes from our January 10th meeting. Did everybody have a chance to review those? Was there any corrections or changes that were needed? Okay, would someone be willing to make a motion to approve the minutes? Mark Doyle has motion. Kathy, would you be willing to second?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Jasmine, would you please take a vote for the approval of the minutes?
Alan Stagliano,
Yes.
Ginger Cohen,
Approve.
Kathy Bauer,
Approved.
Mark Doyle,
Approve.
Tim Jean.
Approved. Okay, Jane, would you like to report on our financial matters?
Okay, for the January balance sheet,
Jane,
we're gonna,
Hold on.
Wait for the financial statements to appear on the screen.
Oh.
Oh,
There we go.
so looking at the balance sheet for January 31st, 2024, we have cash of 2.4 million. Going down to the other asset category, which is an increase, is 423,000 for current other receivables, and long-term receivables is 604,000. That's the admin fees for Belfield that are going to be paid out over a couple of years, and also is 1 year of Arthur May of 121,000 in there.
Can you repeat that again?
So it's Belfield has.
Which line item?
So it's the other assets, it's 1,200 receivable.
Okay.
That is the current for Belfield of approximately 304,000 and 121,000 for Arthur May. Payments that are due in 2024. This was accrued in the December financials.
Okay.
Okay. The long-term, the 1,400 is a new account. It's receivables long-term. That's going to be Belfield over 2025 and 2026. And it's 300 and some odd. Okay, and looking at the P&L, Amanda, the next.
I just would like to note for the record that Amy Bondieri is now present, board member.
Okay, looking at the P&L, there's not much activity, but for income right now, it's 26,000 in income to a budget of 925,000. So right now we're unfavorable to budget for 899,000. Expenses are 216,000. It's the first payment of tourism is that large amount, 212.5. To a budget of 749,000, so we're favorable right now to budget by 532,000. We have right now net income of a loss of 190,000 to a budget of 176,000. So right now we're unfavorable to budget by 366,000, but all 1 month out of 12.
Yes.
So,
Nothing that's alarming to you.
nothing. As I said, the only thing new was that we did accrue in December the revenue for the admin fees.
I kind of have a general question, not pertaining to the actual profit and loss statement. When we issue checks, are they computer generated checks?
Yeah, yes,
Okay, and is it,
they're printed. I
are they
mean,
drawn on are they
out of-
drawn on the MBT?
No,
What?
TD Bank.
TD Bank.
Now, we did have, because of that issue that we did have on the IDA, what was it, the Arlington School check, we set up positive pay. It is still not live yet.
Are you kidding?
No, they added the wrong account. It was the escrow account that they added for it instead of what I'm doing is I'm informing the bank every time a check is issued out of the IDA. And-
Is that TD Bank or MBT?
TD Bank. Only, there's no checks issued out of NBT.
Okay.
The only is, and it's just the two operating accounts
And the
for
positive, you haven't had positive?
It's not set up
positive
yet?
pay. No, it hasn't.
I got mine set up in 2 days.
How are we,
So that's what I'm saying is that there was no fraud against the LDC, so that's, I don't have to inform them, but that's in the works. I sat with the woman, but by the time we went through the process, she realized that they had set up the IDA escrow account instead of the IDA operating. So I'm back at square one again.
how are they monitoring our checks?
I send them in, but
But do they look at do they match that against what's coming in?
yes,
And they'll send you alerts?
yes.
Okay.
Manual.
Manually?
I
I
asked
have to manually send them an Excel spreadsheet with the,
TD Bank.
yes. And then, I mean, the process is easy. Going forward, I'm just going to upload.
Right, but
Check.
this has been 2 or 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a reason that?
They said that there was so much fraud going on that they were backlogged with initiating positive pay.
That's every bank, and
Do we
this
need
is
to-
unacceptable.
Yeah, okay, so Jane, I was just gonna mention, do you feel based on your experience that we should perhaps consider looking for another bank?
This is the first issue that I've really had, so,
And the reason why I raised that, I know that we had the situation there. It actually, where I work, we had a customer's check that was altered and fraud. And then just recently, one of our checks was altered and fraud. And from what I understand is that any of the mail that goes out of here goes to Albany. And I understand that the Albany branch has a lot of malfeasance.
Wow.
That's what, so, okay, so that we have the control in place.
right. And then basically, I'm also I'm going into the bank every day and making sure that if the check does cash, it's who it was supposed to be for.
And-
Because as Kathy had said, if it's done within 24 hours, they can't charge, they have to credit us back.
Yeah.
Yes, and you're checking the back of the checks to make sure that whoever the check was payable to
Oh, it-
is actually endorsed by that person?
I did not, but I will.
Yeah, because a lot of
I just made
times,
sure that they didn't change the face of the check.
well, if they make the check out, let's say to a business, but they deposit the check at a large bank, a lot of the times, the employees at the large bank don't even look to see if the person is endorsing the check belongs to the check. And it's,
Especially with the
Yeah.
prevalence of most of that, a lot of that stuff
Stuff
is
is
now done
like-
remote,
you're right.
electronic. and-
so what we've been seeing is a lot of business checks going into personal accounts.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really, like Kathy indicated, it's very widespread.
Yeah,
Amazing,
I've seen
amazing. Well, I'll leave it up to staff to discuss this, but if there isn't, based on your experience, we need,
it. With the balance we carry, we should be at TD, yeah.
Yeah,
It should,
And
Quickly.
MBT.
yeah. and
it's,
Well, no, NBT has our certificates of deposit, correct? Our operating account is TD Bank.
yeah.
Oh, the operating account,
Yeah.
so you don't do any checks out of MBT?
No, it's just the escrow
That's what
account.
they're saying.
Yeah.
TD Bank has been slow
Yes.
getting this,
Yes.
well, then you know, quite frankly,
They set up the
I would,
escrow
I
account.
would,
set up
you know,
the
I
wrong
think we
account.
ought to investigate why, because, you know,
Well,
there's many banks, and TD Bank,
Yeah.
if they're not providing the services that you need, we can move down to the next.
Right.
It would have been all set up, but they made the.
Yeah.
That's,
Well, but that should mirror that if
That-
other
that
banks can
one's
do it
pretty-
within 2 days.
Yeah, they should know their customer,
Yeah.
period.
All right. Anything else?
$600,000.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We don't need to approve anything. That was your report. Okay, any committee reports? Okay, unfinished business? All right. New business, consideration and approval to amend the performance-based incentive policy for industrial multi-tenant speculative build projects. Who's going to address that?
So, Jamie, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit.
Our committee's met twice, Amy, myself, and,
And what is the name of that committee, just for the record?
no idea.
Yes. Yeah. We have it.
Yeah, it's the Ad hoc Policy Review Committee.
Okay.
You know, we're reviewing 3 or 4 policies with Al, and this one came to light basically at the sports complex, having multi-tenant leases in industrial multi-tenant speculative builds. And what it was doing is basically, if one tenant defaults, it was affecting all tenants, and some of the tenants were then hesitant to sign leases if they would be on the hook for others. And so basically, the net of any default or benefit is the same to us, but it helps the owner to have better leases with these prospective tenants where they don't feel they have the liability of a default, correct?
Correct.
And the committee felt that that would be a fair
Absolutely.
a change in agreement.
Yeah, the change in agreement is fine. It has zero effect dollar or anything on us. It just goes back to them. So it just helps them lease these large multi-tenant industrial warehouses like they're building over at the old sports complex. So we met, we talked to John DeCola, Blue Water, and Ryan was here, and we had some other discussions. So-
And Ryan's on.
Oh, there's Ryan. Yeah, so-
Morning, everyone.
Yeah, so it's a win-win.
So this would apply not only to this particular situation, but it would apply to future
To future
situations. as
situations,
well.
and it would only apply, the language is in you have a copy of the policy, the language is in red. It only apply to industrial multi-tenant projects, not to other multi-tenant projects.
Okay. So it is a recommendation of the committee.
It is.
Okay.
Yes, so I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, would anybody be willing to second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion or questions that people may
Well,
have?
I just have, oh, sorry, Mark.
No, you're fine.
So in the meeting, it says speculative. Okay, is that, but in the red wording on here, it doesn't speak to speculative. And speculative is different than non-speculative. And so does that distinguishment needs to be made, council?
I mean, I think it depends on what the board is looking to do, and I think the language used here is because, as the committee had discussed, is wanting it to apply to those industrial buildings, whether or not they're on spec or not, but the issue was brought up because of
We
this.
agreed upon multi-tenant situation where they had the contract signed. What you're saying is you would still want this wording in it to protect.
I mean, that's,
That was our intent.
Whether it's speculative and you don't know at the time we sign it, or you do know the multi-tenants.
Yes.
So it's really for any multi-tenant.
Okay, so then,
Industrial.
just want to, draw attention to, 9A under new business, it speaks to multi-tenant speculative building.
No, that's a fair point. So it really is
Maybe
not
that, we just need to memorialize that within the agenda, that it refers to any industrial multi-tenant build products.
Okay.
So, I think we don't need to vote, but I think that we will note that wording in the thing it really should not
The
be
agenda.
for speculative. It should be just industrial multi-tenant build projects.
Okay.
And the wording on the actual agreement that's proposed is correct as written there. Okay, we have a motion, a second. Mark, did you have a question?
I just really kind of a backup question to that is, is there any sort of instance in which this could be challenged as applying to, other situations? Because obviously this could reduce the recapture amount for somebody who's in contract with us. Is there somebody who could challenge that and say, no, it might apply to theirs more, more broadly? In that, is the industrial multi-tenant project a tight enough description to keep this from being applied more broadly?
So I guess the only other one that it could be somehow challenged on would be a singular tenant industrial project, and it is just clear enough to,
I mean, if it's a single tenant project, then it
doesn't really matter.
doesn't really apply because it's basically saying you're pro rata attributing the, the
100%.
portion of, it's, all of this is based on the job numbers because the issue is when there's multi-tenants and one tenant is responsible for 100 jobs and the other tenant is responsible for 20. If the one who didn't come up with the 20 jobs to recapture from the one who did provide the 100 jobs would be an unfair application of the recapture, is their argument. So if there's only one tenant, it's not an issue. And then as far as limiting it to industrial, projects like Eastdale or other multi-tenant projects fall under the commercial category. So they wouldn't be classified as industrial projects. So I think this is really limited to those warehouse, distribution center, large industrial facility projects.
So you're comfortable that there's a definition of industrial that's clear to legally clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is this a go forward policy, or does it relate to any already established projects?
For any projects that are established, the policy that was in place at the time that we closed on the project, so anyone that would want this to apply would have to come back and request an amendment to have the
Okay.
new policy apply.
Okay, so we do have somebody here from a current or a prior project?
So we do have Ryan Kelly here from Can-Am, who is requesting that this policy be applied to their project.
So really what we have is, really two separate issues here.
Yes.
One is the approval of this policy for moving forward. The second one would be to apply this policy specifically to this prior project.
Correct.
Okay. So what is the motion before us right now? It is for the overall
The approval of the policy.
policy moving forward.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, Jasmine, could you please take a vote on this revision?
Mark Doyle,
Approved.
Kathy Ballard,
Approved.
Couldn't hear you.
Amy Chacon,
Approve.
Mark Fabiano,
Approved.
Arthur Zani,
Oh, Jasmine, can you speak a little louder? We can't.
Al Giorgiani. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Al's not here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, can you do that? Okay, Jasmine, I'm sorry, we didn't hear you. Could you do that again?
Sure. Mark Doyle,
Approved. There we go.
Kathy Ballard,
Approved.
Amy Pondicherry.
Approve.
James
Approve.
Mark Fabiano.
Approved.
And Tim Dean.
Tim Dean.
Tim Dean approves.
We can take the roll here. Just.
I'm not sure, just to be clear, Amy Bondadari, I believe her name came up and she did vote to approve?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sarah, perhaps for future votes, I'm going to ask that you take this,
yep.
just to make it easier.
Yep.
Okay, so now what we have is a request, and I don't see it as a separate item here, Sarah,
Yes.
on our list, but I think what we are asking for
Is this on the Can-Am issue?
Yeah.
Yes, they're actually going to be returning to the board at a future date, so that is.
Oh, we're just
on.
here to discuss the policy.
Right.
Okay. So Ryan, we will expect to hear from you at a future meeting shortly to approve this specifically for you, to discuss approving this specifically for your project.
Understood. So Sarah, to confirm, the changes to our actual pilot agreement, now that we have approval for the policy change, they will not be administrative. It will require a DCIDA board approval as well?
Yes, because it's a change to the agreement.
Understood. Okay, great. Yep, absolutely. Sounds great. Thank you all for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, all right, so then the next thing on our agenda is presentation of the IDA LDC performance outcomes.
Okay, so I put a little video because I don't think you guys want to hear me talk everything in there. So I put a little video together that basically has everything in these
Okay.
packets. So, oh, there's music, but I guess you can't hear the music. But basically, we attended 5 trade shows, we received 44 requests for information. We created 225 new FTE jobs last year with $75.5 million of new capital invested in Dutchess County.
And I just, on our handout, it addresses the targets or goals for these. And so I think it's important that we do just discuss if there were any that were short of goals or any that exceeded goals significantly.
Yeah. So we were short of goals on our request for information. I think part of that has to do with the economy, talking to other economic developers, not only regionally, but also nationally. Everyone saw a little downturn. They said that was probably due to interest rates, and developers being a little bit more cautious on that end. Number of new businesses attracted. We put that in there. We don't, sometimes we meet that goal, sometimes we don't. It's always kind of, random. But everywhere else, we did very well on in terms of the jobs that we were able to attract and the investment that we were able to bring in. And that is a result of Can-Am, closing on Can-Am in 2023. And attended the trade shows.
Okay.
Okay. The next one is our business retention and expansion entrepreneur services. We did very well this year on that. So we helped 4 businesses get their MWBE certification, which is Minority Women Business Enterprise certifications. We conducted 65 site visits. We helped 206 businesses with technical assistance, and we referred those businesses to 270, we made 270 referrals. Next slide. Is our digital and social media. We had a good year. We've increased all our presence on all our social media. We're trending up. While we don't have a lot of followers on LinkedIn, we are actually finding the most engagement on our LinkedIn page, meaning that people are looking at our posts and spending more time and actually clicking through our website through LinkedIn versus Facebook and Instagram. While we have more followers, they tend to just kind of look at it and then move on. So very good year on that. We pitched 6 stories last year. We didn't really. We did very well. Our return on investment in terms of our earned media replacement was 105 to 1. So for every $1 placement was equal to $105 had we had paid for an ad for that.
How do you calculate that?
So we don't calculate that, that is a calculation that DCI, our marketing company,
Okay.
does for us it's based on impressions and engagement. So
Okay.
impression is how many times, if it like shows up on your Facebook page, and engagement is how many times people like spend a certain time reading it or clicking through our website to it. So that's the ratio.
So it's maintained by a third
Yes.
party. It's not, we're not self-reporting.
Correct.
Okay.
And DCI, is that an annual contract?
So it's an annual contract. So, yeah, and so you can see on the slide there of where we had articles about Dutchess County and our businesses appear on. So Site Selection Magazine, Business Facilities, Trade and Industry. What's also interesting is towards the end of last year, we had a meeting with a few site selectors across the country, talking about our marketing and our website and some of our sites. And they all said, "Oh, I just read about you in Business Facilities." And so it was really good to see, that they're seeing our articles.
Sorry, why is it on ad revenue as opposed to ad expenditure?
I don't know, that's a good, I didn't catch that, I'll add that. Okay, next slide. Again, there's music to this, but.
So no volume.
Yeah,
The last one, we didn't get the music either.
yeah, I
Something
think
on
it's
the
something
Zoom or
has to
something,
Zoom.
because we didn't have it last time.
Yeah, so yeah, so in the last two pages, there's just the activity of the IDA and LDC, the number of projects we did, and these are just our accolades from last year. One thing I do want to bring to the board's attention is this is what we launched last year, is the Think Dutchess Entrepreneur Hub. It's available on our website, and it basically is an event board and a resource board for businesses. It's especially targeted to small businesses and entrepreneurs. It lets them know of local events and webinars available to our small businesses, as well as resources such as SBDC, SBA, WEDC, and things like that, and how to contact them. And such. So that's a new resource, and it comes in, it uses Google Translate, so it can translate into other languages.
So it's a search tool.
It's a search tool that is made available to entrepreneurs.
So Sarah, just based on looking at the outcome reports for the IDA and you have the LDC here, are there any of these that we need to increase or decrease in the future based on our experience? I'm looking at specifically on the IDA, I see retained jobs, we have target of 50, but we're at 5. And some of the other ones, we just are just hundreds percent, thousands percent. And I know we tend to be very conservative in our budgeting, but again, just is there anything upon reflection that you think we should be looking at?
I would say if We could, in terms of increased new jobs through IDA projects, we find that, I would find, maybe we can increase it to 75 or 100. In terms of retaining IDA jobs, we don't get a lot of expansion jobs through the IDA, so I think 50 is as you can see, we had 5 before, so,
Is there anything we can do to influence that more? Proactively as opposed to,
So there's a couple challenges with expansion projects in Dutchess County. There are companies that are expanding in Dutchess County, they're just not meeting the threshold that it is a cost benefit to them to come to the IDA for IDA assistance, but we're able to help them through other programs. And if there is a company that is doing a major expansion, they have to be on property that allows them that expansion. And that's very rare in Dutchess County. And right now, our industrial vacancy rate is about 1.2%. So even attraction of new companies is very difficult because we just don't have that property for that expansion.
got it. So you don't think there's a situation where there's somebody that's not aware of what we offer?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
But on the same subject, so on your business attraction, the first sheet, you have number of jobs to be created, starred, and the goal is 100, and you reached 225% of that. How is that different to the, well, I mean, obviously that's a projection.
Yeah.
But we've also got targets for these increase in new jobs.
So the reason why the numbers are different is that sometimes we do attract projects that don't necessarily need IDA benefits.
Oh, I see. So that's in the first.
So that's why in the business attraction, that number is higher
Right.
than
Okay.
the LDC. It doesn't always correlate to
To
IDA
the actual
LDC
project.
project.
Got it. Any other questions for Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah, maybe you closed in 22, the Dutchess Surgical Ambulatory
Desk.
project, that closed in
Desk, yes.
22?
Yes.
That closed in 22. And what are the two, what do you have projects pending? Notes, you got Two Cross, Mirabel, Beacon, can you just describe those projects real quick?
So the projects that are pending is Two Cross, if you recall that, that's in Beacon. That is that small project where it's
Oh,
for
right, yep.
commercial and there's
Yep,
8
yep,
units
yep.
above residential.
yep.
Mirabel Beacon is the spa
Right.
in Beacon. 335 Founders Way is the
T-Rex.
no.
Both,
It's
the next two are both
Eastdale.
Eastdale, and they did close in January. but
Of
they were not-
2024.
Exactly.
This is
but
the
not
2023.
report.
So 942, 944 is the physical therapy.
Yeah,
And 335 Founders Way, I'm trying to,
Is the daycare.
Daycare.
Okay. Okay,
Terrible.
So this-
I'm sorry. Don.
sorry, so this is only based upon when there's an official closing and everything?
correct,
Okay, even though a project may be approved in a different cycle? Okay.
yes. Because even though, while it has only happened, I think, once in the history of the IDA, where a project's gotten approved but has never closed.
Oh,
And so,
is that project still out there?
well, we have a policy that if a project doesn't close within 2 years, then they have to
Okay.
Was that
reapply.
the sports dome?
So no, it was Grassmere. Grassmere up in Rhinebeck,
Oh,
which
right,
is
right,
now
right.
Soho House, and that was like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, well, I think overall that was a very good report. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is consideration approval of a resolution authorizing the executive director to enter of the IDA to enter into an agreement with Dutchess County LDC Corporation for professional services. Sarah, do you want to just touch on that?
Yes, so this is the annual contract for administrative services between the IDA and LDC. As one of the terms of the contract is presentation of the prior year's outcomes, which we just did. And so we're asking for approval to re-enter into a contract with the IDA with the LDC. Just to bring to your attention that the contract amount has increased. This was approved in the budget last fall, but last year the contract amount was $150,000. The contract amount for 2024 is $200,000. And you'll see that on page 2 of the contract.
The contract is in our packets.
So moved.
Okay, is there a
Second.
second? Okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, Sarah, would you mind taking the roll call vote?
Yes.
So that we're having difficulties with hearing Jasmine.
Yes, yes.
So I think it'd be helpful.
Don Sagliano,
Approved.
Jamie Picone,
Approved.
Amy Bombadiri. Approved. Kathy Bauer. Approved. Mark Doyle,
Approved.
Tim Dean.
Approved. Okay, is there anything else that needs to come before us?
No, not
Okay,
the IDA.
I would like to adjourn the Dutchess County Industrial Development Agency meeting.